Can you not? I'm trying to film some trendy content for YouTube.
Yeah.
What is up, Empowered Fitness community? So today I wanted to hop on here. First, thank you for showing up, for you and tuning back in. You know I post videos every Wednesday. So today I wanted to chat a little bit about the term that we hear a lot called skinny fat, right? So a lot of times when we're deemed obese or overweight, we know we need to lose weight. And when we're too skinny, we might want to put on muscle or put on a few pounds. But I think so often we're not really on either extreme, and we're somewhere right in the middle, right? And a lot of times that term gets deemed skinny fat. So what does it look like, right? So essentially, it looks exactly how it sounds, just about average. You know, you can't really see defined muscles underneath fat, but you're not necessarily overweight. You're just kind of fluffy. Honestly, body fat percentage might still be essentially low when you're deemed this skinny fat term, but the physique itself looks rather soft, right? Like you just have softer muscles. This appearance can take form in both males and females and in all ages. It doesn't really matter what life stage you're at. So a lot of times I think the issue is I'll have clients that come to me, and when I ask them to describe their physique to me, what they currently look like, they describe feeling and looking skinny fat. And so often, and they're not wrong about doing this, but they focus on losing weight rather than improving body composition. So overall ratio of body fat to muscle is what constitutes your body composition. So that really is what makes one physique look different than the other. So when you're super lean, your ratio of muscle to fat is higher. And when you're fluffier, or when you look skinny fat, your overall ratio of muscle to fat might be a little bit lower, and you might have more body fat than muscle, or relatively more body fat to muscle. So the irony is you can honestly have a decent amount of body fat as long as you have more muscle, making that ratio seem more balanced. So I kind of want to start out this video by just sharing with you some of the common mistakes that I have found, both with my own experience and with clients, when they find themselves in this predicament, right? When they find themselves describing what feels and looks like being skinny fat. So first of all, they don't really focus on strength and resistance training as much as they should be, right? So those with this physique, this skinny fat physique, they lack that adequate muscle to fat ratio. So what that means is that building muscles would actually balance out their ratios and make them look more toned. So rather than focusing on cardio or lightweight training, truthfully, it's just important to incorporate resistance training and strength training. So if you're doing lightweight, you want to do high rep sets, right? So if you're working with, let's say, bicep curls, and you're doing 10-pound curls, instead of doing sets of 8, you might want to be doing sets of 12 or 15. A lot of times my clients who come to me with this issue, they're focusing on not focusing on their strength, on their resistance training, and that is particularly with their compound lifts. So a lot of times what I like to incorporate is honestly higher weight in lower reps and focusing on heavy compound lifts. So honestly, while any workout is better than none at all, it's really hard to put on muscle mass if you're not lifting heavy and you're not incorporating compound lifts, right? Squats, deadlifts, anything to really try to put on that muscle mass. So if your lifts are relatively easy, right? Like you go in the gym and you get your workout done, but you're not winded, you're not breaking a sweat, you might be plateauing, and it might be time at that point to amp things up a little bit. Another common mistake, and even I have fallen victim to this, is calorie restriction. So restricting calories, honestly, at the onset, it's gonna let you gain weight. It's gonna facilitate that process, right? When we are in a deficit and we are consuming less than we are burning, so we're burning more, you're gonna lose weight. But what's gonna happen is the metabolism adapts. And when your metabolism adapts to those low amounts of calories, it's really, really tough for you to lose weight, because it holds, your body goes into survival mode. So your body holds on to body fat because it's not being fed enough energy. And so what that does is, as a trainer, we have two options at that point. It's too dangerous to decrease calories anymore, because oftentimes calories can get so low that you're actually consuming less than what you're burning, literally just being sedentary. So it's dangerous to cut calories even more when you're already strength training in the gym. Option number two is to increase cardio. And honestly, that's just miserable when you're eating so low of calories. So if you're at this point and you're cutting calories, you have to understand that your metabolism is adaptive. The good news with that keyword adaptive is that your metabolism doesn't break, but it's also important to get with a coach who can safely and slowly reverse diet you and incorporate more food and more calories, so we can get your calories up to a stable point, so we have something to draw from. And what you'll find then is your body responds very quickly. So your metabolism does adapt, and it will be a fat burning furnace once we have something to pull from. And then something to also kind of highlight with that is that you have to be eating slightly less than you're taking in to lose body fat, right? You have to be in a deficit. But when you're taking that to an extreme, so you're under by like 1,000 calories from where your maintenance is, you're eating a lot less than what you're burning. And there was a study done that obviously when you're consuming that low amount of calories, it's very likely that you're not getting in enough protein. And when you're trying to put on muscle mass and get rid of that skinny fat appearance, protein is the most important macronutrient to be getting. So it's automatically assumed that when you're not eating enough calories, you're probably not getting adequate protein, and you're not going to be putting on that mass. Also, through proven studies, a large caloric intake or a large caloric deficit, it's going to slow your metabolism and prevent that fat loss. So when the physique lacks sufficient muscle and has overwhelmingly more body fat at that point, because your body is holding on to fat, so that ratio is going up, you have that skinny fat appearance. And then lastly, if you have too much endurance training, so you're doing too much cardio, that can interfere with strength and muscular growth. It doesn't mean don't do it, but it can hinder you if it's done to an extreme measure, because you're not able to lift as heavy in the gym, and your body is constantly in a repair mode, and so your muscles are just fatigued, they're burnt out, and they aren't going to build. So really, essentially, what's the fix, right? Number one, focus on heavy lifts and getting stronger with your compound lifts. So some examples of lifts that I like to program clients with is to do an upper and lower split. So I'll have clients work upper body one day and lower body another, and we can really hone in on those muscle groups. So things that incorporate bench press, squatting, deadlifts. Number two, stick to the same program. I'll repeat that. Stick to the same program. Guys, I was on the same programming since September. I just switched programming. When you stick to the same program for a long time, you're able to do what's called progressively overload. And what that means is essentially get better at the lifts that you're doing. When you switch things up too much, there's no room for improvement, right? You can't increase reps, you can't increase sets, you can't increase weight. And so you just kind of end up plateauing, although mentally we're thinking, oh, we're switching up our lifts every time we go to the gym or every week, but it never allows for you to kind of stably grow. 3, cut down cardio to a reasonable amount, right? Like, we don't need to be burning ourselves down to the ground in the gym if we want to put on some muscle. When your calories are low and you're doing cardio, sometimes the scale is not going to move. Sometimes inches are not going to fall off your body. And that's because your body is actually like, I need to hold on to all my fat that I can, or I'm not going to survive. I'm going to die. Number 4, if your caloric intake has been severely restricted, this was me, and I'm speaking to you. We need to reverse diet you. So basically, for starters, reverse dieters, increase your calories by 150 each week, okay? Ideally, when you're strength training, I can do a separate video on this if you guys want one. You want protein when you're strength training to be at or around your weight. You want about 25% of your total calories to go to fats and then the remainder in carbs. If your body fat percentage is average, for men that's less than 15%, for my women about less than 20%. If you've trained for more than 2 years, eat in a slight caloric surplus to build muscle. And if you train for less than 2 years, eat at maintenance level. So calories in equals calories out. If your body fat percentage is higher than average, for men that's greater than 15%, and for women that's greater than 20%, I would put my clients through a cut. So that is a 20% caloric deficit, meaning you're consuming 20% less calories than you are burning. And then I would reverse diet you to lean bulk, right? So none of that bulk crap that makes you get fat. No, it's a lean bulk. It's slowly increasing calories to put on a little bit of muscle. And body composition changes, right? It's not a bulk to where fat's going up, muscle's going up. Yeah, fat might increase a little bit, but muscle mass increases a lot more relative to it. And if you're in the deficit category, you know, don't be afraid to push your ratios in your protein, and your macro split for protein up a little bit. That's only going to benefit you. Studies have shown that higher protein consumption actually facilitates body recomposition, and it'll spare your muscles from burning and your body from burning off your muscles during a deficit. So I hope these tips have helped you. I hope that you are able to sort of start on your journey to combat this skinny fat term. If you're there and you need a little bit of extra help, I'm always here. So please feel free to comment or reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram at Mads Mitchie Fitness. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below if any of these tips have helped you, or if anything in this video stood out to you that you might have been doing and have actually been hurting your progress. I'm curious to hear. Thanks, guys.